Namaste students. Now let us note down the semi-technical description of a family that is included under class Monocotyledonea. So in the previous session we have discussed about one of the family included under class Dicotyledonea, and we have selected a family named Solanaceae, and we have noted down the semi-technical description. So now under class Monocotyledonea we will select a family, that is family Liliaceae, and we will note down the semi-technical description for the members of family Liliaceae. So members of the family Liliaceae is commonly called as lily family. Okay, and there are many genera or species under this Liliaceae or lily family. So coming to the distribution of the members of Liliaceae, the members of Liliaceae are cosmopolitan in nature. That is, they are found worldwide. They can survive in many of the habitats, or even in extreme condition. There are certain plants which are found in desert areas. There are certain plants which can be found in moderate area. So these plants have got worldwide distribution or cosmopolitan. Coming to the habitat of the members of Liliaceae. Usually the members of Liliaceae are herbs. Okay, herbs. Among the herbs or among the plants, usually we categorize the plants based on their lifespan. We usually categorize them into annuals, biennials and perennials. Annuals are those plants which usually grow for a year or for one or two seasons, whereas biennials too, these biennials usually grow for 2 years. Okay, their lifespan will be for about 2 years, more than 2 seasons. Then perennials are those group of plants which usually have the lifespan for more than 2 years. So members of these Liliaceae are perennial herbs. So their lifespan is more than 2 years. Then next let us note down the vegetative characters of Liliaceae. So first we will note down about the stem. So you know that the plants that are included under Liliaceae, they belong to Monocotyledonea, and all these plants have got a fibrous root system. So you can also mention the root system as fibrous root system. Then stem is aerial. Aerial means above the ground level. Stem is above the ground level. There are certain plants or certain species which have got underground stem. So some of the underground stem may be bulb, corm or rhizome. So all this bulb, corm and rhizome are underground modified stem. Okay? Stem has undergone modification such that it can store food. Mainly for storage of food, the stem has undergone modification. So these are underground stems. They are bulb, corm and rhizome. You can note down the example for underground stem, that is bulb. So example for bulb is onion. Onion has a modified stem which stores the food, and it also has got modified leaf which is fleshy and it stores food. Then corm. Example for corm, Amorphophallus. Example for corm, Amorphophallus. So Amorphophallus in common language or in English we usually call it as elephant's food. You might have tasted this vegetable. We use this for preparing various types of dishes or curry. So that is Amorphophallus. So the modified underground stem of Amorphophallus is known as corm. Then rhizome. Rhizome is a modified stem of ginger. Rhizome is a modified stem of ginger. So all these are modified, underground modified stem. Then leaves. The leaves of the plant usually are found basal. For example, you might have seen onion plant, or you might have seen aloe vera plant. That is a simple example you can remember for Monocotyledonea or Liliaceae members. So usually the leaves are basal and leaves are alternate. Already we have discussed what is alternate arrangement of leaves. Then exstipulate. Exstipulate means stipules are not present. Okay, stipules are not present. Parallel venation. The leaves have got parallel venation. Veins and veinlets are arranged parallel to each other. This is one of the characteristic feature or diagnostic feature to identify the monocot plants or monocot leaves. Parallel venation. Then next we note down the floral characters of the members of Liliaceae. So under floral characters, first we have to note down the type of inflorescence. How is the inflorescence? Whether it is solitary flower or it is an inflorescence. If it is inflorescence, what type of inflorescence it is? So inflorescence may be solitary or it may be cymose. So cymose is a type of inflorescence where the floral axis shows limited growth and then the older flower will be formed at the tip and later on at the base younger flowers will be formed. So such a type of inflorescence is known as cymose inflorescence. So inflorescence may be solitary or cymose. After describing the inflorescence, we have to describe about the flower. How is the flower? What is the symmetry of a flower? Whether it is unisexual or bisexual. So flower is unisexual and it is actinomorphic. What do you mean by actinomorphic? Actinomorphic is a type of symmetry where the flower can be divided into two equal halves in any of the plane. That is known as actinomorphic. Then we have to note down about each whorl of a flower. So as I mentioned earlier, many times I have given the example of lily. Lily is a member of Liliaceae. You know that lily has got only three whorls. They do not have distinct calyx or corolla. Okay, the calyx and corolla is not differentiated. They are undifferentiated. You have to remember this. Calyx and corolla are undifferentiated and they together form a whorl known as perianth. And what are the units of perianth? The units of perianth are called as tepals. So we will see how many tepals are present in the perianth of members of Liliaceae. So members of Liliaceae has the outermost whorl known as perianth. Perianth has 6 tepals. Tepals are the units of perianth and these 6 tepals are arranged in 2 whorls. That is 3 of the tepals in the outer whorl, 3 of the tepals in the inner whorl. You can observe here in the diagram. These are the tepals. 3 tepals are arranged in the outer whorl, 3 tepals are arranged in the inner whorl. Then the tepals are united. You can note down here the tepals are united and they form a tube. Type of estivation is valvate estivation. You know that valvate estivation doesn't have any overlapping. Valvate estivation doesn't have any kind of overlapping. Next let us note down about the next one. Next to perianth. There is no calyx, there is no corolla. Calyx and corolla are undifferentiated and they form a whorl known as perianth. Within the perianth there is a whorl known as androecium. Androecium has 6 stamens. Androecium has 6 stamens. And how are the stamens arranged? In 3 plus 3. That is 3 of the stamens are arranged separate. 3 of the stamens are arranged in a different whorl. And stamens are epiphyllous. What do you mean by term epiphyllous? In the previous semi-technical description, we have come across a terminology known as epipetalous. Epipetalous means stamens are united to petals. Here it is epiphyllous. So it indicates that stamens are united to perianth. So if stamens are united to perianth, it is termed as epiphyllous. So 3 of the stamens are attached to 3 of the tepals that are present in the outer wall. Rest of the 3 stamens, they are attached to the tepals of the inner wall. Okay, so that's why it is described as 3 plus 3 and epiphyllous. Then gynoecium. Gynoecium has 3 carpels. It is tricarpellary. Syncarpus. Syncarpus means all the 3 carpels are united or fused. Ovary is superior and trilocular. Trilocular means the ovarian cavity is divided into 3 chambers known as locules. So it is termed or described as trilocular. There are many ovules present and type of placentation is axile placentation. So you can note down here the gynoecium, the placenta is towards the center. Attached to the centrally located placenta there are ovules. Ovules are attached to it and the ovarian cavity is divided into 3 compartments. So such a type of placentation is known as axile placentation. Already we have discussed about 5 different types of placentation. Just recall them. Next, fruit. The type of fruit formed in case of Liliaceae may be capsule and rarely they may be berries. Seeds. Seeds are many because ovules are many, so seeds are many and they are endospermic. So endospermic seeds are those seeds which retain the endosperm even after the embryo development. So such a seed which retains the endosperm is known as endospermic seed. So now after noting down the habit, floral characters and vegetative characters, we have to represent the floral diagram. So this is the floral diagram for Liliaceae family. Floral diagram for Liliaceae family. So in the floral diagram, first we have to note down the position of mother axis. Then there are 6 tepals. Outer wall is perianth which has got 6 tepals. 3 of the tepals arranged in outer wall and 3 of the tepals are arranged in inner wall. 3 of the tepals arranged in inner wall. That's why it is described as 3 plus 3. Then how many stamens are present? Note it down. There are 6 stamens and how are they arranged? 3 plus 3 and they are epiphyllous. So filaments, the stamen is attached to the tepal. There are 6 stamens and they are attached to the tepals. Okay, they are attached to the tepals. So that's all. They are attached to the perianth. That's why it is termed as epiphyllous. Gynoecium, tricarpellary. So there are 3 carpels. All the 3 carpels are united or syncarpous. There is superior ovary. It is trilocular, having 3 compartments, and there are many ovules with axial placentation. So now let us note down the floral formula for Liliaceae. So whenever you are writing the floral formula, first note down what is the symmetry of a flower. So what is the symmetry of a flower? The symmetry of a flower is actinomorphic. So what is the symbol that we represent for actinomorphic? This is the symbol to represent the actinomorphic. Next, what is the flower is bisexual. You have to check whether the flower is unisexual or bisexual. So here the flower is bisexual. So bisexual is usually represented by this symbol, bisexual. Next, you have to note down about the outer wall. Outer wall is perianth. Perianth is denoted by capital P. So how many tepals are present? 6 tepals are present and they are arranged 3 plus 3. So it has to be noted down 3 plus 3. And the tepals are united into tube. So since the tepals are united into tube, the number has to be enclosed within the bracket. Next, androecium. Androecium denoted by A. How many stamens are there? There are 6 stamens, but they are arranged in 3 plus 3. And the stamens are epiphyllous. That is, stamens are attached to the perianth. So an arc has to be drawn between the androecium and perianth. Stamens are attached to the perianth. Then gynoecium represented by capital G. How many carpels are there? 3 carpels. And how are the carpels? Whether they are united or they are free and distinct? It is syncarpous. Syncarpous indicates united. So it has to be enclosed within the bracket. And what is the position of ovary? Position of ovary is superior. Okay, position of ovary is superior. So this is how we represent the floral formula for any of the family. Okay, so if you know the description of a flower, if you know how to describe the flower or how to give a description of a flowering plant, then it is easy to note down the floral diagram as well as the floral formula. And whenever a semi-technical description of a flowering plant, if you want to describe a flowering plant, you have to hold the flowering plant or then noting down the or by observing the flowering plant, you have to give the semi-technical description, or you have to describe the flower in brief and in scientific language using various terminologies. Okay. So this is about the semi-technical description of a flowering plant. So now let us note down what is the economic importance of the members of family Liliaceae. So now let us note down the economic importance of the members or the plants that are included under family Liliaceae. So plants that are included under family Liliaceae, many of them are good ornamental plants. So many of the plants are mainly grown as ornamental plants. Okay, ornamental plants. For example, you might have observed or you might be knowing the plant name tulip. Tulip belongs to Liliaceae, family Liliaceae, and it is extensively grown as ornamental plant. Then there is a plant known as gloriosa. Gloriosa, which is also an ornamental plant. And some of the members of Liliaceae, they are used as vegetables. They are used as vegetables. For example, asparagus. There is a member included under Liliaceae known as asparagus, which is mainly used as vegetable. Then there are certain plants which are mainly used, or particularly there is a plant which is mainly used as source of colchicine. They extract a compound known as colchicine. Particularly, the colchicine is mainly obtained, it's a chemical component which is mainly obtained from a plant known as Colchicum autumnale. Colchicum autumnale. So from this plant, colchicum is a component known as colchicine is obtained. Okay. So this colchicine is extensively used, particularly it is used to treat inflammation and pain, particularly in medical conditions like gout. They mainly use this colchicine, and it is mainly obtained from a plant named Colchicum autumnale. Okay, it is mainly used to relieve or to treat inflammation and pain. Inflammation and pain, particularly in gout. Okay. Then there are certain members of family Liliaceae which is used for medicine. Which is used for its medicine or medicinal value. You know this, most of them might have grown this plant at home or in their garden. Aloe vera plant, right? You know about aloe vera plant as well as its medicinal use. So this aloe vera plant also belongs to family Liliaceae. So these are some of the economic importance of the members or plants that belong to Liliaceae. They are used as ornamental plants, they are used as vegetables, some are used for extraction of colchicine, some are used as medicine. Okay, so now by this we have completed the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants, where we have discussed about morphology, about the need of morphology, and we have discussed about inflorescence, types of inflorescence, the flower, various words of the flowers like calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, and we have noted down semi-technical description of the flowering plants, taking an example or taking a family from class Monocotyledonnae as well as class Dicotyledonnae. So from the class Monocotyledonnae we have noted down the description of family Liliaceae. From the class Dicotyledonnae we have noted down the description of family Solanaceae. So by this we have completed this chapter. So in the next session we will discuss about one more chapter.